You are listening to the Loida Lewis podcast, hosted by Loida Nicolas Lewis. She's a trailblazing businesswoman, leader, philanthropist, and the widow of Reginald F. Lewis, the visionary leader who was the first African American to build a billion-dollar company. With unparalleled determination, Loida Lewis has not only excelled as a successful attorney, but also shaped a billion-dollar empire. Following the untimely passing of her husband, Reginald F. Lewis, she took the helm of TLC Beatrice, carving her legacy as a successful business leader. Be inspired and learn from her as she shares her wisdom, the secrets to her success in both business, in love, and in life. Let's live, love, laugh, and learn. With your host, Miss Loida Lewis.
Welcome to the Loida Lewis podcast. Let's live, love, laugh, and learn together. And today I have the honor of having no less than Jannelle So-Perkins.
Hello. Yes.
Yes. But you must know her because she has been on TV, the Filipino channel, for the past 7 years, more or less. And that's called So Jannelle. So thank you. Welcome, Jannelle.
Hello, Mrs. Lewis. The honor is mine. Hello, everyone. My name is Jannelle So. I am credited for being a Philam media pioneer because I started the first and only daily talk show for Filipinos in the U.S., which I started in 2006 to 2014. Recently, so I'm a media practitioner, basically, amplifying stories, Filipino stories, Filipino-Asian-American stories as well. And I've also just been recently appointed commissioner to the Los Angeles County Commission for Women as one of the commissioners, advocating for women's rights and all the other issues that affect women in our Los Angeles County.
Wonderful. Congratulations for that.
Thank
Terrific.
you.
Recognition.
Thank you.
Yes.
Me.
Well, this time it's an exchange. Instead of you interviewing, I am going to interview you. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that's why when I was invited, I was like, this is really, I've only been interviewed for a podcast. This is only my second time.
Fantastic.
And I love it. I thank you so much. And to be interviewed by you, like I said, such an honor.
Yes. Well, I want everybody to know, how did you come into being creating So Jannelle?
Okay, it's a long story. My story dates back, starts in the Philippines, where I was born and raised. When I was in college, Vintage Television, who was the cover of the Philippine Basketball Association at that time, came to our college to audition. They were looking for fresh faces, new talent. I wasn't into sports, but a lot of my friends were. So during lunchtime, they all wanted to go and audition. And instead of eating alone, I said, okay, I'll just go with you. So I went, I auditioned, and they got me. I was one of the 4. And I was very honest. I said, I don't know anything about sports. I'm just tagging along. And Anthony Suntay, who was a sportscaster at the time for Vintage, said, no, we just want to see how you register on camera. So they got me, and then so I was a sportscaster in the Philippines, and then my family.
So you're saying that was not really your intention, but since everybody was going, so you went too.
Yes, yes.
Okay, let me join you.
Yes,
bravo,
yes.
bravo.
Thank you. And then so they got me. I got in. I was a sportscaster in the Philippines, and then my family decided to migrate to the States. So after a year, I was at a crossroads at that time. I wanted to stay in the Philippines. My career was booming. I had my own sports show. I had my own culture show. But my family, and I'm close to my family, so I decided to choose family. So I moved to the States, and I thought my broadcasting career was over. I moved in 2003.
So let me just tell. You said you know nothing about the sports. So how did you learn about basketball, tennis, golf, etc.?
So, it was, my first time was 1995 basketball, what do you call that? The Fans Day. So it was all the side court stuff. I could handle that. When they transitioned me to cover real sports, they assigned a PA to me and a producer following me around, pointing out the players, pointing out the games. And my job as a courtside reporter, I would listen into the huddle. So I will see the strategy, and that's how I learned.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
You were right there being
Yes.
taught by the players.
Yes, I was learning on the job, literally.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and then my baptism of fire came when they sent me to cover the Asian Games in Bangkok in 1998. I had just graduated from college, so I was really like, and they made me cover wushu, so I had to learn everything about wushu and swimming.
Wushu is martial arts.
Martial arts, yeah. It's more on form. A lot of older people in China use it for, as their, what do you call that, fitness activity.
Just like Tai Chi.
Just like Tai Chi, yes. So that, and then I moved here to...
Wait.
Oh, okay.
I like Wushu.
Oh,
so
you
as you
do?
were watching, no, because I've seen, I did Tai Chi in my younger days, but how were you reporting it? Were you right there, like while they're doing it, you're talking, or you just interview them at the end?
I was annotating. They paired me with Mr. Ronnie Nathaniels at that time, longtime veteran sportscaster. He was the one that assigned me. So he took responsibility of me. So in every game that I covered, he was there. He was there annotating with me. So we covered wushu together. We covered swimming together. But it was tough. It was tough. I remember every night after each game coverage, I would go home and cry to my dad on the phone, cry to my mom. Like, I didn't ask to be sent, but they sent me, and I knew that was a big responsibility. I also knew that so many people wanted to be in my position, and they probably were even more qualified than I was. But I knew that I couldn't let people like Mr. Nathaniels, who decided to send me instead, I knew I couldn't let him down. I knew those who believed in me, I knew I couldn't let them down. So I had to perform. And yeah, towards the end of the coverage, when it got more serious because of the finals, right? They changed my assignment, which I understood and which was a relief to me. They made me cover the sidelights. So what it was like living in the athletes' village, some of the other side attractions that Thailand was offering at that time in connection to the Asian Games.
Yeah, the human element or the
Yes.
human interaction of the players.
Yes,
Which
yes.
is really more interesting sometimes.
Yes, the more lifestyle stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, so I did that. And then
At the end of that, how did you? What would you rate yourself if you were an outsider?
if I was an outsider, I would say 75, pasang awa.
You're too harsh on yourself. I'm sure it was 95.
Oh,
not
thank you.
100.
You're so well. They got me to cover the Asian Games again, but this time it was by another brand in the Philippines that sent me to cover the Asian Games in Busan, Korea, 2002. And at that time, I already had my own weekly sports column in the Philippine Star.
Wow.
So I wrote for them as well, and that was my last gig in the Philippines before I moved to the States.
So your college was in?
Miriam College.
Oh,
in the Philippines.
Marinol, the former Marinol.
Yes. My batch, when we started our freshman year, was the first year that Miriam changed its name because the Marinol sisters left.
Yes. Oh, yes. But for me, it's Marinol Miriam.
Oh, yeah. I
Yes.
love Marinol. I love the name Marinol, I think.
Marinol. Yes. But Miriam already has its own identity.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. And Dr. Patricia Liconan was a good friend when I was in college. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Yes. She
yes.
was our dean for many years. Yes.
Until she became president.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me, you made the decision to choose family and came to the United States. So forget career, everything erased.
Yeah.
So how was that when you came?
Forget love life too. I had a boyfriend at that time.
Oh,
my
my-
first boyfriend.
And you left him too?
Yeah, I left him too.
Oh, you're so brave. Your heart must be
I know.
broken.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was tough. When I moved to the States, I was only on a student visa. And as you know, as an immigration lawyer, student visa meant that I could only be a student. I couldn't work.
No, you couldn't work. The maximum is 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
20 hours, a week.
Yeah. They offered me a job doing 2 hours a day, something like that, at the UCLA library, which I took because I was bored out of my wits. So I did that, but it was tough. For 6 months, I was crying. My classes were at night, so I would wake up in my PJs, check online. At that time, it was Friendster, or check the news. I would see everyone, my contemporaries, getting their own shows or this and that, like really advancing in their careers. And I was in my PJs at like up until maybe 3, 4 p.m. and I'm still in front of the computer like, what did I do? I made a wrong decision, da da da.
Second guessing yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that, and then I'd get ready
For school.
Yeah, and then go to school. My classes were at night, Monday to Friday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
And you were taking masters at that time?
I enrolled in a certificate course at UCLA Extension for print and broadcast journalism. It was tough. After 6 months, we had spring break, and I distinctly remember I went back to the Philippines, and my mom was crying. She thought I wouldn't come back anymore.
Yes. So your mother, your father, sisters, brothers came all together?
Yes. So they first sent when my mom's maternal petition for family got approved, they sent my brother to school at USC. And then the following year, they sent my sister. I was overaged, so I couldn't go. So the only way I could have gone, which we took at that time, was to be a student on a student visa.
Yes.
My dad didn't allow me to drive.
And in Los Angeles, you cannot go anywhere without driving.
Yes. So at 6 o'clock, at 5 or 4:30, he would drive me every day to UCLA Extension to my class. We would fight because I would blame him for my predicament at that time. I was so sad, depressed almost. And we would fight, and then he dropped me off. He'll wait in the parking lot.
Wow.
Because there was no point coming back home.
Yes, because at that time, his office or whatever work he was doing is also over.
Yes. So he would wait for me, and then when he picked me up at 9, he would have like a sandwich, or you haven't had dinner, da-da-da. And then, I'll just be calm again. And then we'll drive home. So that was our life for about 9 months. There was a period of where I went back to the Philippines, and I did extend. I was there for about the week became 2-3 weeks because I really contemplated just staying in the Philippines.
And what changed your mind?
Family. My mom, I didn't want her to worry about me. My dad too. Also, they said, just try and finish your course. If after you finish your course, you still want to go back to the Philippines, you've given us what we wanted. Then you can follow whatever you want to do.
Yes. And probably your boyfriend already had another girlfriend.
Oh my gosh, yes. A week after I moved. Yes.
That could be a deciding factor.
Yeah,
yes.
A week after I moved, I couldn't even call him on the phone anymore. When I finally spoke to him, he wasn't picking up anymore. When I finally spoke to him, he said, well, hold on a second. We already broke up. And I was like, what? I didn't know about that.
Yes. I'm sure that was a big disappointment. But basically family.
Basically,
family.
really, family.
And your mother gave you a good choice. Finish. You've started it. Finish it.
Yes.
And that made sense.
That made sense, yes. But not knowing that after I finished it, I had a year of practical training.
So you could stay another year.
So I could stay another year. So I stayed another year, and I started. My broadcast career at this point was over. I thought it was. So I worked for a newspaper company selling advertising, which I had no idea about. But then I started earning in dollars. So I was like, once I started earning my own money, and then I leased a car. Once I leased my car, my dad decided to sell our home in the Philippines so that I would not have anywhere
Connection.
to go home to. So there, and then that was 2003, 4, 5. In 2006, that's when I got offered a job at KSCI TV, which is an Asian language network in Southern California.
Now tell me first, you were selling ads, which you have never done before.
I've never done it.
So, do you remember your first successful ad that said, I'll buy?
My first check was $50 for 15 days. I would bring the newsprint and go to a plaza where there's different stores and go one by one. I was doing door to door. I had the newsprint here. At the end of the last store at that plaza, I'd put down whatever was left from the newspapers, and it will be so dark here because the newsprint would stain my arms, my clothes, everything. Or I
Soliciting. Meaning to say, this is the newspaper. Would you like to have an ad? Okay.
Yeah. And then after a few weeks, I got smarter because I said, how come my office mates were just here? They're not going door to door. I realized they would just do cold calls first and then do appointments. So I did that. But I just always felt like sometimes for you to sell something, you need to establish your credibility first. And credibility can't be established over the phone. You have to see you, they have to see your face, they have to see how you handle yourself.
Whether you're a good person, because, businessmen, businesswomen know by instinct whether this person is reliable or not. More or less.
Yes. So I did that, started driving.
And so what's your next paycheck? More than 50, I hope.
150.
150, 3 times.
Yeah, this was back in 2004.
Yes.
2004, 2005. And then, but I remember because I was driving so much, I got my first speeding ticket. So I was driving and I was listening to the music I listened to back home. So it was on blast. And I was on the 2 freeway. It's very open. And then I heard the siren. And I was even smug. I was like, oh, someone's going to get pulled over. And I was driving.
Not knowing it was you.
And then I was like, wow, that siren sounds close. And then I look at my rear view mirror. It was already
behind
following
you.
me.
That was first.
That was my first ticket.
So was the officer kind or brusque or?
He was kind, but I was driving close to 100. And he said, look, you should be, that's reckless. You should be in handcuffs. But because I pleaded, I was like, I just moved here from the Philippines, please, He gave me a ticket for 85, speeding 85. So that
$85?
85 miles per hour. So that was, what was it, like $50 or $20 per mile over the speed. So I was already computing. And my $50 and $150 paycheck, I couldn't afford a ticket. My friend said at the time, you need to go and contest it. Just show up. If the officer doesn't show up, then you're as if nothing happened. And thankfully, he didn't show up.
He didn't show up, yeah.
Didn't show up.
So, anyone listening, negotiate. Negotiate.
Yes.
Be kind, be courteous, not aggressive, as she did. Her first traffic ticket.
Yes. And speaking of negotiating, it's okay to question the officer respectfully. I had another incident. I was speeding just last year. I was speeding, but I wasn't really going. It was a downhill road. And the officer caught me and said, you're speeding, you're 10 miles over the limit. I go, but I was just following traffic. The guy in front of me was also speeding then because I was just following him. So you should have caught him first. And he said, no, but because he was only speeding 7 miles over the limit. I said, oh, come on, I'm 3 miles over. You should have caught him. It doesn't even matter how much you're over. You're speeding. You should have caught him first. And he said,
and you're saying that with a smile or with a frown on your face?
I said, come on. Can't you tell? Can't you see? Like, it's ridiculous because he was also speeding. It doesn't matter how much over. We're both speeding, but he was in front of me. Why are you catching me?
Okay, again, a tip. Be gracious, be charming.
Yes.
Okay, never aggressive.
Yes. And so I said, give me your ID, ma'am. Your driver's license. Oh, come on, please, officer. We were both speeding. That I was still talking. And then he walked back and then came back. He said, look, you're right. You were both speeding. I should have caught him first. So I'm not going to give you a speeding ticket, but I'm going to give you a corrective ticket. You need to put your license plate in front of your car. So I said, okay, thank you.
You see? No, it's not that you can get away, but that you have to stand your ground.
Yes.
Because she is right. She was over 10 miles. Right?
Yes.
And the other guy was over 7 miles. They're both over.
Yes. So things like
that. So argue, but stand your ground, but be gracious.
Yes.
Be kind.
Yes.
Always charming. In Tagalog, it's got a very good word. Lambing.
Lambing, yes. And always with a smile.
Always with a smile. All right. Good tip. Tip number 2. All right.
And then so 2006 now. So I was working, doing my sales, But then I missed broadcast. As you can see, I like to talk, right? So I missed it. So I was praying and praying and praying. I go, Lord, you know, what is my purpose? What is your plan for me? I just want to go back to the Philippines. I miss my old job. At that time, the same brand that hired me to cover the Asian Games in Korea called me to cover the NBA All-Stars in Houston. So I said, I think this is a sign, Lord. This is my gift. I need to share it. After NBA All-Stars, I'm going to go back to the Philippines. Because at that time, it had been 6 months since I auditioned for the role on LA 18. And they weren't calling back. So I said, maybe I didn't get it. I'll just go back to the Philippines. A few days before I was leaving for Houston, LA 18 called me.
Wow.
And said, we want you for a second audition. Can you come? So I
So
said,
you mean
okay.
to say you auditioned 6 months earlier?
Yeah.
And waiting and waiting and waiting.
Waiting, following up.
Yes,
I think
yes.
after the third, fourth follow-up, I'm like, you know what? If they want me, they'll call me, right? I can't like always be pushing. So anyway, they called me. So I went in the studio, and this is also funny. The office was 8th floor. So they talked to me about the job, duties, responsibilities. And then when the studio was down, the studio was in the 1st floor. They said, let's go downstairs. So in front of the camera, and said, talk whatever you want to talk, pretend as if you're talking on TV. I said, okay, and don't stop until we tell you to stop. I go, okay. So camera, action. I didn't realize that the guy observed me for the first maybe 5 minutes, went back upstairs to the 8th floor, gathered some of the other executives and said, you should see this girl. She can handle her own. She talked, They all came down, and I must have been doing a monologue for 30 minutes?
No! What were you talking about for 30 minutes?
Just different things. I was like, well, you know, as Filipinos, like just different things. And they
You were
said,
talking for 30 minutes.
Yeah, no.
You see? When you love your work, you can do it.
yeah,
Right?
I think so.
Yes, yeah.
And then
Also, you prayed.
I did.
You prayed for wisdom,
Guidance.
for guidance, etc.
Yes,
Okay, tips to everybody. Tips number 3. Ask God to help you, and it will come.
all the time, yes. And then they said, okay, you're hired. Can you start training? When can you start training? I go, oh, next week I'll start training. So, okay, well, you have 3 weeks of training. I realized at that time that I was the third choice. That's why they took them long to call me back. They already had 2 choices that they trained. It didn't work out.
They told you that later.
Yes, they told me that. Well, because they said, we only have a week to train you now because we set out, but the other ones we tried didn't work out for us. So now we want to launch the show at this time. You will have a week to train.
Oh my goodness.
I said, okay, sure. So training for them meant teaching me how to handle the edit machine, how to do this, all that. And I did it.
Without any experience, because when you were in the Philippines, it's
I was
just
a talent.
broadcasting.
Yes. And
But this one, you have to do your own machinery devices.
legwork, go to the news desk, look for news from CNN and all that stuff, everything. After the 3rd day, 4th day, and said, you don't need to train anymore. We can launch on Monday. I said, no, we can't. They said, why? I don't have a visa.
Well, you were upfront. You were honest.
I said, my visa is for the newspaper that I'm selling ads for. I need a concurrent visa if you want me to work for you. But I waited until they could see what I can do for them before I told them. And they said, oh, you should have told us earlier. Okay, now they sent me to their lawyer. They expedited everything. So we were able to launch.
All right. Honesty is the best policy, guys. Okay. Lesson number 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did that. So I launched. And I did it for. Okay. So remember when I was questioning God, like, what do you want? Why am I doing sales? I have no experience, So when I started doing the show, I kept my sales job because they were already just renewing their contracts, doing newspaper sales. And I just started going to them and say, hey, I now have this TV show. Do you want to do both?
Nice. See, smart. Think smart.
So, and that's when I realized that's what God was doing for me. He was preparing me to take on this role. So it ended up being the first and only locally produced daily talk show for Filipinos in the U.S. And they were also doing the same thing for Chinese and Korean because it's an Asian language network. But I was the only hybrid. I was the only host, producer, and salesperson because I could sell my own show.
Fantastic.
So
See?
I did that. I had long-term clients. I did that from 2006 to 2014 when I got burnt out because it was a daily show. And at
Daily, Monday to Friday.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I had a staff. They hired a staff for my last 3 years, working 4 hours a day with me. The rest I did myself, even selling, even meeting with clients.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah, and then and that's why they said to the show was highly successful because I was able to get my own clients and I have my own relationship with the clients, right? But then again, family. So I got married, but I was getting married at a later age, and I said I need to rest at this space. I'm not gonna get pregnant because I'm getting old. I need to take care of my body and start a family. So I turned my back on my career again.
Oh, wow. Okay, lesson number 5. Okay, priorities. What is most important?
Yes,
And
yes.
she decided family. She wants to have her own family, her own children.
Yeah, so
all right. And turned her back on her career, her second career.
time. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
but thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling the audience.
Yeah. So I got married. I thought I was done with broadcasting the second time. After a year, I got bored.
That's Lily, your daughter, Lily.
Yeah, Lily. I wasn't pregnant yet, but I got bored and I said, but you know what happened? This is another tip for your viewers. So KSCI TV, the station that hired me, I did everything for them. They pretty much just gave me the airtime. Do what you want to do your own contacts, whatever. So I built the show from ground up, right? At the time I left, it was syndicated in Hawaii. It was the longest running Filipino talk show outside of the Philippines. But when I left, I got nothing. No residuals, no nothing, because the IP is owned by the station because I was an employee.
Yes,
So I told
yes.
my husband, next time if I want to do this, I want to own my own. It's a risk financially and everything else, but a sink or sail, I'll be the ship. So it's,
Okay, tip number 6. Okay, if you have the chance, negotiate for ownership.
yeah, negotiate for ownership or maybe invest in yourself.
Or invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Although I have to warn, investing in yourself is very hard because 90% fail.
Yeah.
10% win.
Yep, yeah.
And congratulations, she won. She's still on the air.
Still struggling, but yeah, celebrating wins. So so that was 2015 because I got married 2014. But 2015, I found out I was pregnant with Lily. So my husband said, you can't work now because, So I waited till 2017. Lily was 18 months old when I launched So Jannelle.
So Jannelle, right.
Yeah. But remember I told you about the clients that I took care of. So Toyota, McDonald's, all of them. When I posted on Facebook that I was launching my own show, they started messaging me and saying, please contact this person from our advertising agency. We won't forget how you took care of us. We want to support your new show.
Excellent. You see that? Relationship, long term. Yes. If
Yeah.
you're good, you're good.
Yeah.
Meaning to say, if you're good to others, they will be good
They
to
will
you.
remember.
It's the human condition.
Yes. So I launched in 2017 to 2018.
What channel? Which
TFC, the
TFC,
Filipino channel. So this
yes.
time I was financing my own production and I was buying airtime. I was getting my own advertisers. So 2017 to 2018, lugi.
yes.
I was at a loss.
Yes. But you had extra money, or maybe your husband funded.
I had to figure out a way to do it. And then 2018 to 2019, I said, this is the year I'm gonna, because when I was at a loss, I wasn't so far behind. I could have broken even. So I said, this is the year I'm gonna maybe break even or maybe even earn, right? And then I realized I was pregnant again. This time with Leo. And this was even worse because I was on bed rest for 2 weeks. I couldn't get up. It was very, very precarious already because I was like advanced maternal age. And then, so I broke even. But I remember after I'd given birth the following day in my hospital bed, I was taking calls, trying to schedule interviews with clients.
You see? Never giving up.
Never
giving up. Yes, you have a goal. You've got to do it.
Yeah.
Break even, if not earn profit.
Yeah, and no
okay, it's so
excuse.
important, guys. Those watching, set your goals all the time, as she has.
Yeah. And then 2019 to 2020, I said, this is it. This is going to be the year. And then pandemic.
Oh, no, that's right.
Pandemic, yeah.
So Leo was just born before the pandemic.
Leo was born, he was, I think, about a year. Yeah, and then the pandemic happened. So, no, sorry. So 2018 was when he was born November. So 2018 to 2019, sorry, I had a baby. So I also I made a little bit of profit, but I wasn't working full time because I was taking care of my son. 2019 to 2020 was like the year, 2020 to 2021 was the year to push. But there, pandemic.
So what happened?
I lost a lot of my clients because obviously no one was driving, no one's going places, automotive stopped. My resort clients, casino clients stopped. They had to shut down too. I negotiated. Your tip, right? I negotiated with my carrier channels. I said, look, I can't. I either go dark or I'll continue, but you're gonna have to cut my airtime.
Discount.
Yes, you're gonna have to cut my airtime because I've lost my advertisers, as you have as well. So they knew. So they cut my rate, and I continued from. We were renovating our house too at that time. We didn't know that there was gonna be. We didn't have a kitchen in the house.
Oh my goodness!
It was crazy. We couldn't cook. There was no sink. We would use one of the bathroom sinks as our sink.
Yeah.
If we wanted to eat, Lester would go out and grill. We couldn't cook. It was so hard. It was so
all right.
hard.
Look, one after another. The pandemic, a baby that less than 2 years old, no advertisers, but she pursued.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we were doing it. In our like dilapidated because they took out walls in our house, and so we set up there. So thank God we survived.
How did you do it?
I just kept pushing. I tried to research on whatever grants, assistance the government was giving.
That's right.
I couldn't do the big ones, but there were small ones that I took on.
See, research, find out, get a solution.
Yes.
So she found help from the government.
And then, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, here we are.
Yes. And your advertisers came back.
My advertisers actually, a lot of them came back closer to the end of 2020, moving into 2021. And a lot of their advertising shifted to social responsibility, lifestyle stuff, which is not the hard sell ones. So, and I've just been hustling since. You would lose some clients, but you would gain some. But it has to be constant, like, also review of what you're doing, because if you build it, they will come, right?
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we were building content. We have a lot of content now. We're getting some names that we're able to interview. And we're also doing events and sponsorships and all that stuff.
All right. So one of my final questions until we ask the audience to give in their questions. How's your love life?
Okay.
How did you meet your husband?
That's also juicy now. So I met my
They're
husband.
all ears. They're listening. Tips for those who are single or somebody looking for your significant other.
Yes, actually, okay. I was engaged to be married in 2010. We were supposed to get married 10-10-10.
Wow.
February of that year, we had put it down on the venue. We had wedding coordinators. The flowers were booked. Photographers were booked. Videographers. I decided that I didn't want to push through with a wedding. There were differences in values. And so I called off that wedding. That was so tough.
Wow.
That was so tough. But I called it off. I had the support of my parents, so that made it a little bit easy. And then I think June or July of that year, he got married to someone else, which is, so that's done, right? And then so I was still like, you know, I'll meet the guy, you know, somewhere. I was always out there trying to also see like I was really doing well in my career. But at home, it would be lonely because I knew that I wanted to have a family. And so, you know, like it came to me, right? So online dating. Everyone was talking about online dating. And at that time in 2010, 2011, it wasn't still very much widely accepted. But something came to my mind. If you want to achieve something with work or with career, profession, whatever, if you want to achieve something, what do? You work for it, right? I said, this is my goal. I want a husband. I want a family.
You see? Goal again. Set your goal.
Yeah, I want a husband. I want a family. What do? I have to work for it. So whatever it takes, right? So I signed up online. And
is that a famous online
yeah,
app?
It was. It was one of those that weren't free. So I had to
pay
subscribe.
Something.
In the beginning, I wasn't taking it seriously. But then, and also, I only signed up because my mom said, if you don't sign up, because my mom was very advanced, very modern. If you don't sign up, you won't meet anyone. And if you don't sign yourself up, I will sign you up at this. She was looking at this program, which was charging $6,000 a year.
Wow, that's so expensive.
At that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she said, I'm going to use my money to sign you up for this one. I said, no,
Your
Mom.
mother?
Yeah,
Really?
I said, keep your money. Just to maybe quiet her. I signed up on this other site, which was a monthly of what, $40. I said, Mom, you don't need your money. Keep your money. I signed up. But I still wasn't taking it seriously until I said, look, I'm going to have dinner anyway. I'm going to have lunch anyway. I might as well meet these different guys for lunch or for dinner rather than eat by myself. Here I am again. I don't want to eat alone. So there.
Because you were living by yourself already, not with your parents.
Not with my parents anymore. So I was, doing that. And then, I met my husband online.
How all I know is that you see pictures. So did you see him first time or you chose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
He was my last choice because he wrote me a very thoughtful email. For those who do online dating, I'm sure they'll know. Some people will just cut and paste, and email like blast. It's like casting a fishnet. Whoever but Lester's email to me was very thoughtful. I could tell she was referencing some of the things that I wrote in my bio, so I could tell he read it.
Yours.
Yes, I could tell but. He was divorced with a child. And my ex-fiance had children, also divorced. And as much as possible, I didn't want that. So normally, if I didn't like you or I thought it wouldn't work out, I would just delete. But because his message was just so, it resonated with me, I kept it in my mailbox. I said, maybe later. But I still started seeing other guys. I didn't respond to
Having
him.
lunch or dinner. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't respond to him. That was October, I think, when he sent that email. 2012 to 2013, New Year's Eve, we were in Peru with a girlfriend of mine. We were both single, having fun. We were going to a New Year's Eve party, but during the afternoon, she said she wanted to sleep. I wasn't sleepy, but I couldn't go out in Lima because they said it's dangerous by myself.
By yourself.
So I stayed in the room with her. I wasn't sleepy. So I opened my laptop and I answered all the pending emails that I have from that dating site. And one of those was Lester's.
You finally answered him.
Finally answered.
3 months after.
3 months after. And then he answered back. We scheduled to meet in January. And I was very surprised. In Los Angeles. I was very surprised. He was better looking than his pictures. He was really nice, really a kind man. Lester is so. So yeah.
That's it. All right, girls. The guys, those who are still hoping,
yes,
take a cue. It works.
It works.
Yes, it worked for Jannelle.
Yeah.
Yes,
and then another thing. So first date. As soon as we sat down, I think you've heard the story before. As soon as we sat down, I said, well, first of all, I gave him all these parameters. I said, I need to have dinner from 5:30 to 8 because I need to get home. And then it has to be within 5 to 10 mile radius from my studio. Here's the address of the studio, fine, whatever. And he told me later on, he was like, what a diva. But I knew what I wanted.
Yes.
I didn't want to waste time anymore.
Yes.
So he found a place
Close to the studio.
close to the studio. It's owned by a friend of his. They were having wine tasting at that time. It was still closed, but they opened it for just us, just 30 minutes before. And then as soon as we said, hi, hello, or are you Jannelle? Oh, yeah, da-da-da. So we sat down. We were looking at the menu. I said, what do you want? He goes, well, the fish here is good. I said, no, from this, because I'm looking for a husband, because I want to have kids.
Derecho. You see that, guys? All right, girls? All right, straight. You know, you're a certain age, you don't have time. And she was straight. She had the goal.
Yeah, he said, whoa, you're not wasting time. I go, yeah, I don't have time to waste. I said, at that time, I think I was 36. I said, I'm 36 now. I want to get married. I want to have kids. I'm getting older. So if this is not what you want, that's fine by me too. But let's not waste each other's time.
Oh, I love it. Don't you love it? Looking at the menu, what do you want? Fish, maybe? No. What do you want?
Yeah.
I love that.
And he said, okay, let's start with a fish. So we ordered a fish. So we had a great time conversing. And then at the end, and this is also, I think this is God's intervention too. At the end, he was a director. He directs commercials. He was directing a documentary for the Grammys at that time. At the end of our dinner, I gave him a business card. I said, here's my business card. He goes, wait a minute, is this a business transaction or what is this? I said, well, if it doesn't work out, we can at least work together or just keep my card.
Very practical. You might be good for my business too. I love it.
Yeah, so he saw the card and he was like, wait a minute, I recognize this logo. It turns out the guy who hired me was a friend of his.
Oh my goodness. There it is.
Yes.
There it is.
But
1 degree of separation.
Yes, but that guy already left our studio a few years prior and moved to Paris to head another station there. So as soon as I got home, I messaged the guy. I said, do you know this guy, Lester? I went out on a date with him. He said he's like this. So basically, you know, one of the biggest traps of online dating is you don't know if the person is the person who he's saying he is.
Absolutely.
I think I got lucky, but I will say blessed, because I spoke to the common friend and he confirmed everything that Lester told me. So he was legit. So the second date, and you don't do this with strangers, but the second date, I let him pick me up at my house already because I knew that he was legit.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the person who says he is who he is.
Yes. So there and
you were married how many months later?
So
years.
We our first date was January 21, 2013. That December, that March, that May he took me to meet his parents in London.
Already in London. So
London.
He's British.
He's British.
Oh my goodness.
But this is so funny because he said, "Okay, I'm gonna cook dinner for your family, for your parents." And asked them if I could bring you. I was at that time I was 36, but you know, Filipina, right? I'll ask them if I could bring you to England to meet my family. I said, okay. So what time is dinner? I go 6 o'clock. Okay, what do they want? Do they want fish or steak? I go, let's do fish and steak. So you know, there's a choice. My dad will probably eat steak. My mom will eat salmon. So we went to the two fillets or 4 fillets of fish, 4 fillets of steak, and then he was cooking, Filipino way. Ding dong. He goes, it's only 5:30. Are you expecting anyone? I go, oh, no. And then opens the door. In comes my niece, 5 years old at that time. And then he was like, who's this? Oh, that's my niece. And then in come my other niece who was older. And then in come an elderly woman. Who's that? Oh, that's my brother's mom-in-law, the mom of my sister-in-law. In comes my sister. In comes my brother, in comes my mom, and finally my dad. And he was
caboodle.
Yeah, he was looking at me, goes, you told me your parents? 2 people. And then I said, yeah, I only invited my parents, but I guess my dad invited my mom and invited my brother, and the whole family was there, including the mother-in-law of my brother.
Filipino style. Absolutely.
Style. So we ended up like cutting everything to portions. We managed.
You managed.
But after that too, he said, so now we're thinking of marriage. I said, I would like a Catholic wedding. And he goes, okay, how can we do that? I go, well, first of all, you're not Catholic. You're going to have to convert. So he started taking classes.
Yes.
It's called RCIA.
Yes, yes.
It's 3 hours a week of school, not school, like sessions until Easter.
Yes.
So then he converted. Yeah, he converted, and then December of that year, even before he was baptized Catholic, he brought me back to London, and that's where he proposed.
Oh, it's wonderful. Isn't that great? See? Search for it.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
be goal-oriented. And
Yes.
it will come.
It will
Of course, you ask God's help, and God helps.
I also prayed a novena to Saint Joseph a
Yes.
lot.
Okay, for those who do not know, Saint Joseph is the foster father of our Lord Jesus Christ. Mary is his spouse.
Yes.
Okay, so that's called the whole family, holy family. And Saint Joseph is the patron saint for a good family.
Yes, yes, he is. And I prayed for a good husband. In fact, my son's name is Leo Joseph, to name after
Saint Joseph.
Saint
yes.
Joseph. Yeah, it's just been a whirlwind. So at this point in my life, sometimes I'm back to where I was, like checking out Friendster and all that when I turned my back on my career. I said, sometimes I look at people and I look at myself and I feel like I can do more, because I'm in an industry where the more you're seen, the more opportunities come, and the more it's a chicken and egg situation, right? The more you get invited, the more you attend. If you stop attending, you stop getting invited, and you can't attend. It's just things like that. But the priority is the kids right now. I have that tinge of like, oh, I can do more in my career. If only I can do this, do that. But then also at the same time, I know the children will grow up very quickly. And I feel like for many years when I was blessed with a career, I would pray to God and just ask for a family. And because he gave me a family,
A boy and a girl.
a boy and a girl too, I owe it to him to take care of these little gifts that he gave me. So right now, priority is family.
Priority, again. So everyone, lesson number 6. Prioritize what is most important to you and family,
Yes.
especially children, because they grow up. They grow up and they're begun.
Right.
So the most important are those beginning years.
Right. And then I also realized, like, when Lily was the first 17 months, remember, I wasn't working. So there was no reason to put on makeup. There was no reason to get dressed or do anything. I was just with her. I also realized, what am I modeling to my daughter? What is she seeing? She's not. I mean, salute to all the homemakers out there, the stay-at-home moms, the full-time moms, because it is a hard job. But for me, it didn't work, because then I had no drive to get dressed, put on makeup, go anywhere. I just wanted to, be with her. And that's what also the deciding factor whether for me to go back into what I was doing or what I'm doing.
All right. To thine own self be true.
Yes.
That wasn't you, a homemaker, being in, no makeup and anything like that. And you're right, because eventually your daughter will remember, okay? Not making, not just being a homemaker, and that could possibly be what she could be, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah.
But you were true to yourself.
Yes.
It wasn't you. You were not happy.
Yes.
So use your head, follow your heart.
Yes. And now, I see her, like, she's proud of me when I go to her school, or she talks about mommy's filming, or mommy's doing this, or mommy got a certificate from the president, from TOFA, or, things like that. And they have something to talk to their friends about what I do and stuff like that. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And in fact, they came here, and when Jannelle said, I am filming, so they understood and they left.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yes, they understood.
Yeah.
You were at work.
Yes.
And they respect your work.
Yes.
All right.
yes, yes.
Okay. Wonderful. Terrific. Now, any question from the audience? I mean, any question that was sent by email, askloidalewis@gmail.com. This is a question from Pia.
Okay.
I have followed your career from the Philippines to now. In So Jannelle, you look the same.
Oh.
Can you share your beauty secrets?
Beauty secrets. First of all, never go out of the house without sunscreen. Apparently, it's, and I used to lay out in the sun. I don't anymore.
Okay. Okay. Don't expose yourself to the sun too long. Actually, when I read this, they said maximum 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
That's
yes.
what I read.
Yes. So, yeah, sunscreen. And then moisturizer, because especially in the States, when it gets cold, our faces get dry. Drinking a lot of water. And I recently discovered lashes. No, I did lashes, like the semi-permanent lashes, long time ago. Realized I was allergic to glue, so I stopped it. And then another makeup artist told me about it like years later. The technology has changed. But the maintenance, it was difficult because every 2 weeks, and to drive to the shop to get it done. So now there's and I'll introduce you to her. New Lounge is a company that's taken over the lash market in the Philippines. Do you know that in the Philippines, for events, when you go to galas in the Philippines, they don't do strip lashes anymore. They're all New Lounge.
Wow.
Yes, they're all New Lounge. And guess what? The Filipina behind it is now opening a New Lounge US in no less than Rodeo Drive.
Wow. Los Angeles. That's the Fifth Avenue in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And she's Filipina.
Yes,
Thank
she's
you.
Filipina. So I'll
Thank
introduce you to her. But yeah, I recently found her company, New Lounge. They do home service.
Wow. Terrific. That's a plug.
Yeah.
She should advertise in So Jannelle.
Thank you. And you too. So that, and then, yeah, I think that's
Okay, so you heard that. Shade, what do you call it now? Sunscreen.
Sunscreen. Moisturize.
No exposure to the sun. And moisturize. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that question, Pia. And now the next one is from Christine R. Who is your absolute favorite person that you have ever interviewed, aside from me?
Yes, that's what I was.
No.
Seriously, every time I get asked who's the most interesting, who's your most favorite person that I've interviewed, it's you, Loida Lewis, really. Because I remember interviewing you. I was so amazed at your wisdom, everything. You inspired me, really. I still remember when you met me and I interviewed you. I had just ended my engagement. And you said something, it's not the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end, or things like that.
Yes. Because that's my favorite. Everything will be all right in the end.
Yes.
If it is not all right, it's not the end.
Yes.
I said that then?
Yes, you did say that. And I was like, wow, this woman, that gave me hope that I will still find someone for me. It's not, And then also you talked about how Mr. Lewis was slaying dragons outside. You wanted your home to be a haven of peace for him. And I was like, that's the kind of wife that I want to be for my husband. I'm not. It's tough. I'll be honest. But yeah, that. And then just your relationship with God and how you do your meditations every morning, no fail. That's consistency. It's just very, very interesting to me.
Wow. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I didn't mean that. But
no,
anyway,
but seriously.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Jannelle.
you for everything that I've learned.
Thank you. All right, the last one is from Jello T. Jello. How do you balance it all? Work, running your show, taking care of your children, and being a wife.
Yeah.
Oh, balance, yes.
Yeah.
How do you do it? Thank you, Jello.
Yeah. How do I balance it? I get asked that question a lot. First of all, I'm very lucky, blessed, because I have the most amazing husband who is also very hands-on with the kids. There are times when I can't do it. He stays at home and takes care of the kids. He calls them the daddy evenings, where it's just them, and they even have a special meal for dinner when I'm out doing my events. So that's that. Also, a support. You surround yourself with people with a good social support. My family, I call on my mom a lot. I call on my sister a lot. My sister helps me. I'm very blessed that way. And then third, remember, the opposite of surrounding yourself with a good support, choose your friends. It's really important, because there are friendships take time to nurture. And sometimes you don't have time for that anymore when you're taking care of everything else here. So choose your friends who will not begrudge that you're not spending as much time with them, or choose your friends who will understand if you have to cancel. And also that way you're able to be a better friend to them, and it comes in full circle. When you do your social circle, they're included in that, and then they help you in turn.
Okay, wonderful. Those are great lessons. Avoid toxic friends.
Yes,
You know, they
toxic
take
friends.
away your energy.
Yes, yes.
And then those friends who really love you, who care for you, and you care for them, they will allow you to grow.
Yes. If they really like you, they will find more ways to like you. If they don't like you, they will find ways to not like you. Right?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
There you have it, guys. Jannelle So-Perkins.
Yes.
Before we end, the last question. Any final word to our audience?
Right. Well, okay. I have a lot. No, this is my fourth tip too, and you agree with that. Being with God, right? I recently realized I'm exhausted. I recently realized that you can't always say, even just a simple thing is, I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired. In terms of how to balance it, I realized to spin it. If I want to say, I'm exhausted or I'm so tired, I say, I can do things through Christ who gives me strength. And it turns your mood around, and it's a positive spin to being tired, right? So that's my tip number 4.
Oh my God, I have goosebumps. I have goosebumps because I love that too.
Yes,
I
right?
can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Yes. So that. And then final words. Another thing too.
Yes.
A verse that guides me. What does it profit a man if he gains the world yet loses his soul? So in everything that you do, don't lose your values. There's a moral compass that you have to adhere to, because it's so easy, especially in our industry, entertainment, broadcasting. It's so easy to sway. It's so tempting to be with, people you don't share values with because they're successful or they're this, they're that. No, because you need to stay true to your compass, right? And like I said, what does it profit a man? Material things. I was just watching a documentary about we're in the era now of accumulating things, and fast. We don't even wait anymore. Amazon is always the next day, or even same day delivery. It's not good for our soul. It's not good for our environment. So I just use that as my compass whenever I make decisions. And final words, thank you so much for giving me time. Thank you for welcoming me to your lovely home. Every time I'm in New York, thank you for making time for me and my kids now. And just So Jannelle is a weekly show that gives you stories of Filipino immigration and representation. So please catch us on the different channels that we air on, our different platforms, and on social media as well. All
right, there you have it. Watch Jannelle in So Jannelle. All right, thank you. That's the Loida Lewis Podcast.
The Loida Lewis Podcast, hosted by Loida Lewis, is produced by the creators of Over a Glass or Two, Jesse and JV. Executive produced by Loida Nicolas Lewis. Rate and review us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for a chance to be featured on a future episode. Have a question for Miss Loida? Just email us on askloidalewis@gmail.com. Your question might make its way to a future episode. Subscribe on all major platforms to never miss a beat. Thank you for listening to the Loida Lewis Podcast. Let's live, love, laugh, and learn together